The state fair is over, the kids are back in school, and now it's time to turn our attention to the midterm elections. The November ballot includes choices for Minnesota's constitutional officers, the 8 congressional House seats, and all 201 state legislative seats in newly drawn districts. Joining me to talk about the upcoming election is the Secretary of State, Steve Simon. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the basics. If I'm not mistaken, early voting is just around the corner. When does early voting begin, and where do people go to vote?
You are right. It is just around the corner. We just put the summer season behind us, as you said. We're now into fall and school time. September 23rd, Friday, September 23rd is when that begins. And voters who are interested in voting as of that point can do so in really 2 basic ways. One is in person, typically at a county or city office. And if you don't know where to go, our website can provide that information. It's mnvotes.gov. You can type in your address and it'll tell you where to go to vote absentee. The second way, of course, is to vote from home, to vote from your kitchen table if you want. And there you can go to that same website and order the ballot so that it comes to you at home. You have to furnish some personal identifying information, whether it's partial driver's license number, partial social security number, and the like, and that ballot will come to you. And remember, 2 years ago, we saw a huge surge in voting by absentee. A large majority voted that way. And so Minnesotans are now hopefully more familiar than they once were with that whole process.
But to vote by mail, you go online to request a ballot, is that right?
Yeah, that's the best way, I'd say, to do it. You could also do it in person by going to a government office, but if you go online, mnvotes.gov, you can order the ballot and will come right to you at home.
And then you fill it out and you stick it back in the mail to send it back?
Correct. You could do that. You could drop it off in person. You could, under some circumstances, have someone deliver it for you. But there are multiple ways to get it back. But remember, you've got to get it back by Election Day. Not postmarked. It's got to get back by Election Day. However you do it, that's the rule.
You were last on the program in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and one question that I asked you then was whether there would be enough election judges and poll workers to staff precincts. That question remains, although the reason for it is slightly different. There's less concern about personal health and more concern among some workers who are reluctant to staff polling places due to threats of intimidation or fear. Will there be enough poll workers, election judges, to staff our precincts across the state?
I am cautiously optimistic that there will be. I check in constantly, as in several times a week, typically with county and city partners. And what they tell me generally, there are some exceptions, is they feel pretty good. We always tell them to over-recruit. Make sure you have a buffer and some wiggle room in case some people drop out at the last minute. But you're right, there has been a shift in emphasis. And one thing that COVID taught us was how to adapt. All of us, I don't care what area of life it was, home, school, personal, business. And we had to do that in 2020, as you say, for different reasons. But as a result, we got to exercise a different muscle in the election system, which was looking at different places and different targets to get those election judges, not just the trusty standbys. As great as they are, some of them didn't want to participate in 2020. So I am confident that despite the different reason for a possible shortage this year, that the counties and cities and townships, they're the ones who hire, train, and pay the election judges, that they will come through as they did in 2020. The joke around our office basically is, hey, if we could survive 2020, we can survive anything. So it's daunting, but nothing probably is as daunting as 2020.
In 2018, the United States Supreme Court ruled against a Minnesota law that prohibited political clothing and buttons from polling places. So can Minnesotans now wear whatever they want to the polls?
Not quite whatever they want. That decision drew a line, at least we and others interpret the line like this. You can wear whatever political clothing you want to the poll, except clothing or items that depict or name someone on the ballot that day. So it's okay if you want to walk in with your Tim Pawlenty ball cap or your Mark Dayton t-shirt, that's fine. They're not on the ballot this year. But it's not a good idea, and probably still the law would still hold up as to anything that could be considered electioneering, a slogan or a depiction or a name of someone who's on the ballot. So walking in with your Jensen for governor hat or your Walls for governor t-shirt, you can't do, but pretty much anything else you can. All manner of political expression is okay, on a button, on a hat, on whatever.
Okay. Elections themselves have become mired in accusations of fraud. You have consistently said that Minnesota has a very secure, accurate voting system, both against threats, foreign and domestic. And I remember 2 years ago, we were talking about foreign threats as well. How do you convince the skeptics that our elections are secure this time around?
Yeah, well, Minnesota has a great record stretching back years and decades. We know that. We're the envy of the country, literally. Secretaries of state from both parties have come up to me and asked me, how do you guys do X? Or how do you guys do Y? We want to do that. Our elections are fundamentally fair, accurate, honest, and secure. And one measurement of that, there are many, but one measurement of that is our sky-high turnout year after year after year. For the third time in a row in 2020, we were #1 in the country in turnout at almost 80%. You don't get to record-smashing levels of turnout unless people in their gut, in their heart, know that the system is fundamentally honest and clean. Now, there are good people of good faith and who have different viewpoints than I do, for example, on what the system ought to be, but I think people recognize it's fundamentally fair. But to those who are skeptics, I would say this: don't just take my word for it. Look at what other outside folks have said about our election system in Minnesota and nationally, whether it's the former Attorney General, whether it's the current FBI director, whether it's 60+ federal and state judges appointed by Republicans, Democrats, including the prior president, who have said when presented with evidence or allegations of wrongdoing or misconduct, it isn't there. 2020 was the most watched, litigated, scrutinized election in American history by far. And in the end, American democracy and Minnesota democracy came through with flying colors.
So to follow up on that, pollsters and pundits are expressing concern over the damage that those recent allegations of voter fraud have had on the integrity, the perception of the integrity of our voting system, and on democracy as a whole. Is our democratic process under fire?
Yes, it is under fire. I think the #1 threat to our democracy in Minnesota and the nation is this cloud of organized, coordinated disinformation that has descended on too much of the country and too much of the state. And it's a real problem. There are good people, everyday folks who have been taken in by some of it, most of it, sometimes all of it. And that's unfortunate. We can have a good faith argument back and forth about election policy, what the system ought to be. That's democracy. We should have it. And we should have it frequently, often, and always. What we shouldn't do is permit super spreaders of disinformation for political reasons, economic reasons, sometimes both, to spread propaganda, lies, untruths, disinformation about our election system. Wilder and wilder and more bizarre conspiracy theories that don't hold up to any scrutiny, have no basis in fact, but sound good and get people to their feet at rallies. It's not true. It's demonstrably false. And too many good people are taken in by some of this. So do I think it's a threat? Yes. Is our democratic system under fire from that threat? Yes. But I am a long-term optimist. I really am about democracy in Minnesota and democracy in the country. And part of it is what we just went through in 2020. We withstood the ultimate stress test for our democracy, not just COVID, but some of the things that we've been talking about as well. And does democracy feel a little bit dinged and dented over the last few years? Yes. But these institutions were built to last, and they have lasted. And I think in the long run, we're going to be in okay shape. The fever will break, but we got to make sure it breaks. That's up to all of us.
Finally, before we go, some of these elections in November are going to be very close. How long should voters be prepared to wait for a final result?
Well, we've had experience, as you know, in Minnesota, and as your viewers know, going back to, but certainly including more than, the 2008 epic Coleman-Franken recount. Now, that was exceptional and extraordinary and once in a generation. That lasted several months. That's a really extraordinary situation. I don't expect that to be the norm, and there are reasons why, given some changes in election law, any repeat of a Coleman-Franken-like recount would take less time than it did then. All I can say is we have a record in Minnesota of reliably conveying election results quickly and resolving as quickly as we can any disputes and recounts. So the bottom line is soon, if not instantaneous, for sort of everyday elections, but in the event of a recount, including a statewide recount, that's going to take some time. But you know, all I can say is, and it depends on the variables of every case, as soon as possible. I don't expect another Coleman and Franken multi-month, 8-9 month sort of situation.
Okay, Secretary of State Steve Simon, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.